Hi, are you currently on a Tier 2 General or Intra-Company Transfer UK visa in the UK? Or are you planning to come and live in the UK in 2021 on a Tier 2 visa? Then you need to watch this video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the changes that are coming to the Tier 2 General and Intra-Company Transfer visa in 2021. And I'm also going to be sharing my understanding of what these changes mean.
Get strong.
Hello and welcome to The Nimble Nomad. My name is Arjun, and on this channel we talk about the tips, tricks and hacks to survive and thrive in the UK. In case you're new, on this channel I talk about a whole bunch of topics on life in the UK, ranging from UK immigration to personal finance in the UK or UK property and a whole other bunch of topics. The point of my channel and the videos that I make on it is to help other people out who are living in the UK and share general knowledge and points to make sure they have a better and successful life in the UK. And the other thing is, everything that I talk about on this channel is completely based on my experience. So there isn't anything that I'm talking about in this video that I haven't personally experienced or gone through as part of my experience of living life in the UK. In this video, I'm actually going to be running through some of the key changes that are coming up in 2021, specifically on the Tier 2 General and Intra-Company Transfer visa. Now, the reason why I'm making this video is because I was talking about what the changes post 31st of December 2020 mean for immigration in the UK. And the understanding that I got in my conversation with my friend was that anybody who's actually on a Tier 2 General or Intra-Company Transfer visa can actually benefit from some of these changes. And also people who are coming into the country could also benefit from what these changes mean. Now, the way I've broken this video up is it covers Tier 2 General as well as Tier 2 Intra-Company Transfer or ICT visas. And what I've done is I've split the video out into two chapters. So you can click the link in case you're interested only in one of the two. But I do suggest and recommend that you watch the entire video. So what is the Tier 2 General and what is the Tier 2 Intra-Company Transfer visa? Now, I'm sure a lot of people who aren't familiar with UK immigration or are planning to come to the UK don't even know what the difference between the two is. I've done a separate video going into depth and detail of what that is. I'll add a link of it above. But here I'll quickly summarize it. So when you're visiting the UK, or especially if you're planning to come and live in the UK as on the basis of work, you can get two types of visas, Tier 2 General or Tier 2 Intra-Company. Now, the way it works in the UK, in order to come and work in the UK, you need a sponsor. So that basically is a company or an individual who is willing to hire and recruit you and offer you a job in the UK. And there are two visas obviously on the basis of that. So those people who are coming from abroad, who don't currently work for an organization and are applying for a new company or a subsidiary in the UK and want to live in the UK on the basis that they're going to be their permanent job, they usually come on a Tier 2 General visa to the UK. Now, for those of people who already have a job in abroad, and their company or their primary job provider is sending them to the UK on a temporary assignment, they come to the UK on an intra-company transfer visa. So you're basically transferring within your organization into a temporary role in the UK for a set amount of time, and then you'll go back to your original job or home country after you finish that assignment. Now, in case you're wondering how or why I know about both of these, is because I have lived in the UK on both sets of visas with two different employers. So I came to the UK for the first time in 2010, and the first time I did, I came across on an intra-company transfer visa because my employer wanted to send me on an assignment to the UK. And the second time, I actually got a full sponsorship from a employer in the UK whilst I was abroad. and they wanted to recruit me into a full-time job, and that's what's led me to permanently settling in the UK. I'll make a separate video in case you're interested about my life and just how I've come to live in the UK. Leave a comment in the section below and I'll come back to you with a great video. So what is actually changing? So from 1st of January in 2021, basically, EU or EEA citizens who had freedom of movement into and out of the UK from the EU will no longer have this. Now, in light of this, the UK government has basically introduced new rules so that there's a fairer system to get jobs and start living in the UK, and as well as getting visas to live in the UK. And basically, as a result of that, there's been a lot of changes to the existing rules for Tier 2 General and Tier 2 ICT visas. So I'm going to now run through each one of the changes that are coming through. So I'll start with the Tier 2 General. And after I've explained what the change is, I'm going to explain what it means based on my own understanding. Now, keep in mind, I'm not a professional immigration advisor, but I am doing this based on my own research. So take it with a pinch of salt. Okay, so the first change that's coming up is basically the change in the education requirements, or the minimum education requirements. So basically the first change is about the fact that if you came on a Tier 2 General visa before, or at this current point in time, the current rules mean that you would need to have a qualification, a minimum qualification, which was at least of a bachelor's degree, which is basically, so they have this qualification framework in the UK, which is called the Required Qualification Framework, and it sets out what the educational requirements are. And previously it was at level 6, which meant you needed at least a bachelor's degree. The new rule from 1st of January means that you can just be at level 3. So basically all you need to have is high school level education, and the job that you're applying needs to be on the Standard Occupational Code job list. So there's a list of jobs that are available. So as long as a job is on that list, then and you have these minimum requirements, you can come into the UK. So what does this actually mean? So from a perception of meaning, this is actually fantastic, because previously, if you wanted to on the current rules, if you want to come into the UK, the only way you can do so is if you have at least got a bachelor's degree. So what this means is now basically there's going to be two things. So one, there's going to be more jobs that are open to people who are not EU or EEA citizens, or rather just globally the access to the pool of jobs is going to be more. And then the second thing is you will be able to get these jobs easily, because if you don't have that bachelor's degree, then you can get it even if you're just a school leaver. So it's almost leveled the playing field for everybody. Okay, so the second change that's come into place is that previously, or on current rules, experienced workers, so people who have a job experience for the job that they're applying, would need to earn at least £30,000 in order to come to the UK on that Standard Occupation Code list. Now, this has changed, which means that now in 2021, you just need to earn £25,000, 600 in order to come in, and or the minimum salary that the code requires. So it's changed quite a bit actually. So there could be jobs in the SOC list, or the Standard Occupation Code list, which could be even lower than 25,600, and you could be able to apply and come and live in the UK. Furthermore, what they're saying is that if you've got some specialist skills, like you have a PhD or some really specialist skills, and that job is on a shortage list, then there are even lower thresholds available for you. So what does this mean? So in order to get sponsored, you don't need to earn as much money. So there was this huge cap on how much you could earn for a specific job in order to come in the UK. And that was causing a lot of people's visas to get rejected. So, companies would have to pay more, and therefore people would have to hit that threshold in order to come. And this used to change on a consistent basis, month-on-month basis previously, or rather on the current rules. Now, the other thing that you do need to keep in mind is if you are going to come in this scenario, or there is a flip side to it. So it's not all roses and sunshine. You may have to negotiate slightly more if you are provided a job or a job offer, because the employer is probably going to try and drag that down in line with whatever the SOC list requirements are. Now, the other advantage to this is it's completely based on skills. So it's no longer a case that just because you're from a specific country or based on eligibility that you apply for a job. It's more who is the right fit for this particular job. So it's going to get a bit more competitive, but the advantage is you have access to more jobs again. So this is another change now that's come in, which is about new entrants earning at least 20,800. So this is basically if you're starting to work all together. So I think this is more from a perspective of, if you are an undergraduate student studying in the UK and you want to apply for a job, then basically I think the minimum salary requirements have reduced even more. So basically new entrant, in my opinion or my understanding, is that you've not got any job experience and you're applying for a job. And this salary requirement has reduced in the new rules by 30% lower than experienced workers. So let's say there was a job on the SOC list, and that list says that the job is, the minimum salary for that job is £30,000 for experienced hires. Now, if you're somebody who's completely new to this environment and you've never worked in that, but you're applying for that job, you could be getting paid less than 30% lesser and still be able to get sponsored for that visa. So basically, what does this mean? So what this means is basically people who don't have any experience will also have a higher chance of being able to apply for jobs which require experience and therefore getting sponsorship. So again, the base for somebody who doesn't have experience or previously was applying for a job role which requires immense amount of experience will be a lot more. So you'll have a lot more availability of jobs or access to the market essentially. Okay, so this is another rule which I think is a fantastic change. So basically, before or on current rules, in case you needed to get sponsored and this job was not on a shortage list, right? So let's say that the job is something that isn't deemed to be a shortage with where the skills are not available locally. Then what the sponsor would have to do is they would have to go through a resident labor market test. Basically, what they do is they define the job spec or job requirements and they post it on the government portal. And that government portal, it has to sit on the government portal for 30 days where people who are locally based, so basically in the current environment, it's either EU, EEA or British citizens who apply for it. And only if the employer can't find somebody that meets their requirements, then it is when that job becomes open for sponsorship, meaning that you can get somebody who's not an EU, EEA or British citizen, and then they can apply for it, meaning that they can get a tier 2 visa. And basically what they've done is they've just gotten rid of this labor market test. And the fact that they've gotten rid of it means that it's much, much easier to get sponsored for jobs which are not on a shortage list. So again, if you're an immigrant or if you're not a citizen from the EU or EEA community, actually now it's basically a case that anybody can get sponsored for this visa on the basis of the job not being able to be fulfilled by a local citizen. So from an immigration standpoint, it really opens things up. Okay, so the next change is there's a rule or quota currently that only 20,700 annual visas on tier 2 general can be provided, unless of course you get paid this ridiculous salary, and they've completely gotten rid of this quota. So again, the number of people who will be able to come into the UK on the basis of a tier 2 general visa has changed massively. So there's no longer this quota or cap on how many tier 2 general visas they're going to be handing out each year. So this is pretty good. This is an interesting one. So I've not personally experienced this, and I didn't know about this until I started doing research for this. But basically, if you were on a tier 2 general visa and you left the country, for whatever reason, in order to come back on another tier 2 general visa, you would have had to go through a 12-month cooling off period under the current rules. And this is, of course, there's an exception on the basis of your salary on the current rules, but they've basically gotten rid of this cooling off period. So in case you're on a general visa, decided to leave, and you want to come back, this is quite good because you can go in and out as many times without actually having to deal with this cooling off period. So again, makes the whole visa process a bit more streamlined and faster in case you want to come back to the UK. Okay, so this is another rule which I think is a good one, but a strange one. So tier 2 general visas are actually only provided under current rules for up to a maximum of 6 years. And what they've done is they've just gotten rid of this 6-year rule. So you can be on a tier 2 general visa for as many years as you like. Basically, under the current rules, most of the time what people would do is they would just apply for indefinite leave to remain, which is quite expensive actually. So what they're probably saying is if you like your current passport, you don't really want to, get this permanent residency thing done. You just want to be on a visa. You can continue to do so for as long as you want. Okay, this one is again pretty good. I think there's been a lot of questions on my channel about the minimum salary cap. So if you're currently on a tier 2 general visa and are planning to switch to ILA, I think you should definitely watch this. So basically, they have put in a rule that, or there was a rule that there was a minimum salary that you needed. I believe it was something like 30 or 30,000 pounds to achieve indefinite leave to remain. They've gotten rid of this indefinite leave to remain minimum salary requirement. So you definitely can get an indefinite leave to remain if you're not earning this minimum salary in 2021. So I would not worry about changing jobs or anything like that, because I know some people were asking this question as well on my channel. Okay, so now we're going to get into the tier 2 intra-company transfer visa. So if you've stuck around with me up until this point, thank you so much. And if it's been helping you out, why not drop that like button a smash and give the subscribe button a click. Let's get into the intra-company transfer visas. So getting into the intra-company transfer visas. So the first one is basically that if you were on an ICT visa and that ICT visa expired, so tier 2 intra-company transfer visa expired, and you left the country, then there was this rule that you need to have a 12-month cooling off period before you can return back to the UK. Now, this was painful because some people had to come back on regular assignments to the UK, so you'd have to wait for 1 full year before being able to come back. What they've done is they've reduced or simplified the cooling off period. I don't quite understand how they've done it, but basically what they've said is as long as you've not held the ICT visa for more than 5 years in a overall 6-year period. So you can have not like continuous intra-company transfer visas for more than 5 years within a 6-year period. So you have a break of 12 months somewhere along that line, then you're okay. Of course, there's an exception, which is if you earn more than £73,900, which was previously £120,000, then you are exempt from this tier 2 ICT visa requirement of having the school off period. So what does this mean? I think this is kind of a not so great change, but basically it just means you can stay in the UK for a lot longer if you're on an ICT visa, or rather you can also return back to the UK quite easily if you are on an ICT visa. So a fair amount of flexibility here, but one to keep in mind as well. Okay, so the next one is a massive change from my perspective. Basically what they're saying is that previously, if you're on an ICT visa, you could never basically get permanent residency in the UK. You just had to go back to your home country and have to try and come back on a tier 2 general visa. But now you can actually change from an ICT visa to a tier 2 general visa. And this is massive. You can, at the end of the 5-year period, apply for indefinite leave to remain. And I think this is a fantastic change because I know a lot of people, a couple of my friends are actually on an ICT visa. And I think for them, this would be a great change for them, because if they want to settle in the UK, it gives them some level of stability, and being able to settle down after 5 years is quite an advantage, I think. So I think if you're watching this and you're on an ICT visa, you should definitely look into this in terms of being able to convert your ICT visa into a general visa, and if in case you want to settle down in the UK, it will really help with things if this is what you want in the long term. So that's it, guys. That's all I wanted to cover in this video. As you can see, things have changed quite a bit for tier 2 general and tier 2 ICT visa holders who want to live in the UK. It really makes living in the UK a lot easier, as well as immigrating to the UK a lot easier in case you weren't an EU or aren't an EU or EEA citizen. Also from EU EEA citizens perspective, all of these things will apply to you in case you're wondering whether this is applicable to you or not. I hope this helped you out, and if it did, please smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe. I launched videos every week. I've now started launching videos twice a week where possible, so Thursdays and Sundays, and I'll come back to you with other great videos. Thanks very much. Goodbye.